When you picture a deer, I'm guessing you're thinking of, quiet grace, big antlers, maybe a peaceful forest.
That classic majestic image.
Exactly. Well, today, we are throwing that image completely out the window. We're diving into the water deer.
A species with no antlers at all.
None. But it does have a nickname, the saber-toothed deer. And even more dramatically, the official vampire deer.
And that contradiction is really what's so fascinating. The research on this animal is all about extremes, bizarre anatomy, really surprising behaviors.
And this incredible global paradox. I mean, it's dying out in one place while becoming a total pest in another.
Right.
So our mission today is to unpack three things for you. First, how this animal actually earned that vampire nickname.
It's more than just looks.
Then, its surprisingly athletic habits, including a very, very picky diet. And finally, this wild difference in its population status between China, South Korea, and even the UK.
It's a real conservation puzzle.
Okay, let's just get right into it. The vampire identity. It's called the water deer because it loves wetlands, right? Not because of its diet.
Correct. It has a strong affinity for swamps, rivers, that kind of thing.
But the nickname comes from what the males have instead of antlers. We're talking about these huge, overgrown canine teeth that point straight down.
They look exactly like tusks or fangs, and they are. They're formidable, especially for an animal this size.
And they're not that big, are they?
No, not at all. Think of a very stretched out border collie. An adult male only weighs around 12 kilos. They have these long legs, a long neck, and these very cute kind of teddy bear ears.
But the tusks.
The tusks are serious. In females, the canines are tiny, maybe half a centimeter. But in a male, they can get up to 8 centimeters long.
8 centimeters. And what's really wild, what separates them from other fanged deer, is that those tusks aren't just stuck there.
No, and this is where it gets truly interesting. They're not fixed in place. The water deer can use specialized facial muscles to actually rotate or pull them back.
Wait, they can retract their fangs?
Partially, yes. It's a mechanism to keep the weapons out of the way when they're just, browsing for food. But it lets them deploy them instantly for a fight.
So the vampire nickname is less about how they look and more about the fact that the weapons are functional and retractable.
Exactly. It's an incredible adaptation.
Amazing. And besides the tusks, there's another tiny little detail, their tail.
Oh, yeah. It's practically invisible, so short you'd never notice it.
Unless
it's mating season, and the males raise them up as a kind of display.
Okay, so this fanged, bounding mammal is native to East Asia.
That's right. There are two subspecies. You have the Chinese water deer and the Korean water deer, which is a bit smaller and darker. Their native homes are, as the name suggests, the wetlands of China and Korea.
So let's talk about those habits, because they seem completely tied to that watery environment.
Absolutely. They thrive near swamps and rivers, but you'll also find them in fields and grasslands. They use all that tall vegetation, the reeds and rushes, for cover.
They're hard to spot.
Extremely. They're mainly nocturnal, too, sticking to the twilight hours. From dusk till dawn, you could say.
Huh, very good. But this elusiveness, it's not just about predators, is it? Their diet is apparently really tricky.
It is. They have these highly sensitive, four-chambered stomachs, which makes them notoriously picky eaters.
So what's the issue?
They really struggle to digest complex plant carbohydrates. So they can't just eat tough, old grass like other deer. They have to be super selective.
Meaning they're looking for what?
Soft herbs, young sweet grasses, the kind of stuff you find in river lowlands. Very restrictive diet.
Which seems, I don't know, a little unsustainable.
It is, and it leads to some opportunistic behavior. The big surprise is that they're not above sneaking onto farmland for a meal.
Oh, really? To eat what?
They apparently have a thing for beets.
Beets, a wetland deer raiding beet fields.
They love them. And it makes sense, really. This high-nutrient, high-energy diet is essential for their lifestyle.
Because they're so active?
Incredibly active. They are phenomenal swimmers, for one. They can cross miles of open water to get to remote islands.
But their movement on land is the real aha moment. They don't run like a normal deer.
No, not at all. When they really need to move, they escape by jumping. They bound, sort of like a large rabbit.
It's such a strange way for a deer to move.
It's very unusual, but it's also highly effective for getting through that dense cover, escaping predators like leopards, foxes, or human poachers.
And despite being so shy, they're not quiet.
Not at all. Surprisingly vocal. The sounds are described as yapping, whistling, squeaking, even screaming and clicking.
Vampiric clickers.
You could say that. And when they're startled, they'll leap away and let out this very sharp, distinctive barking noise.
Which I imagine happens a lot, given how competitive they are. They're mostly solitary, right?
Usually alone or in pairs, yeah. And the males are intensely territorial, especially during the breeding season from November to February.
How do they stake their claim?
All the usual ways, urine, feces, but they also use scent glands, and they'll strategically snap off little bits of vegetation to mark their boundaries.
And when a male is looking for a female, the approach is soft, squeaky calls.
Right. The courtship is gentle, but if two bucks decide they want the same doe, then the mood changes dramatically.
This is the showdown.
It is, and it's not like antlered deer pushing each other. This starts with a ritual. They walk really stiffly toward each other, then they turn and move parallel for maybe 10 or 20 meters.
Sizing each other up.
Exactly. It's pure intimidation.
And if that doesn't work?
If neither one backs down, the tusks come out.
Yeah.
It becomes a true fang fight.
And they're really going for it.
Oh, absolutely. They're using those 8-centimeter canines like baggers. They're trying to stab and tear at the opponent's head, their shoulders, their back.
It's just so at odds with their delicate appearance.
Completely. The fight only ends when one of them surrenders, either by lying down with its head flat on the ground or just running for it.
The research says these fights are rarely fatal, but they definitely leave a mark.
For sure. The loser is often considerably incapacitated. And you can see the evidence. I mean, almost all mature males are covered in scars. It's a costly business, fighting for mates.
And that high-risk life is balanced by their reproduction.
Right. Does usually have 2 fawns, but they can have up to 7 at once.
7? That's a huge litter for a deer.
It's massive. And the fawns mature really quickly, in about 6 months, so the population has the potential to bounce back very, very fast if the conditions are right.
And that brings us to the great paradox. This unique, bouncy, fanged mammal has a global population status that is just wildly contradictory.
It's night and day.
Let's start with China, the native Chinese water deer. It's critically endangered.
Critically, there are only about 10,000 of them left in the wild.
10,000. Now, contrast that with the UK.
A completely different story.
Mm-hmm.
There's a thriving population of at least 1,000 Chinese water deer in southeast England.
And they got there by accident, right?
Yeah. It started that way. A few escaped from Whipsnade Zoo back in 1929. But then zookeepers, seeing how well they were doing, actually released more of them into the wild.
So if you do the math, that means 10% of the entire global population of this endangered species is just living its best life in Britain.
Far from its native home, far from its native predators.
But the other side of this paradox is, well, it's staggering. South Korea.
Yeah. In South Korea, the estimated population of their native water deer is over 700,000.
700,000. How is that even possible?
It's a direct result of ecological change. Their main natural predators, Korean tigers, leopards, they went extinct.
So there was nothing left to control their numbers.
Exactly. And with their high reproductive rate, the population just exploded.
And that's where success becomes a problem. Because there are so many of them, the government there designated them as harmful wildlife.
That was back in 1994. They cause huge damage to farmland, eating crops, and they're responsible for a lot of car accidents.
So when an animal becomes an official pest, extreme measures are taken.
Very extreme. Local governments in South Korea actually offer cash bounties to hunters to control the population.
A bounty on an animal that's endangered just across the water.
The scale is hard to comprehend. In 2016 alone, just 1 year, over 113,000 Korean water deer were killed by bounty hunting.
That is a stunning number.
It's a shocking example of what happens when an ecosystem gets thrown completely out of balance.
So what does this all mean for you listening? We've got this bounding nocturnal mammal with retractable tusks that runs like a rabbit and loves beets.
But the real takeaway here is about how ecosystems work. The water deer story is a perfect case study. You remove the apex predators, and an animal's entire role can flip.
It goes from being this fragile prey animal in China, struggling with habitat loss,
to this massive ecological success story in Korea that became such a problem they literally have to pay people to hunt it, all because its natural checks and balances disappeared.
It really is a fascinating stark contrast. And here's something for you to think about going forward. If the Korean water deer population is thriving because its predators are gone, what does that mean for the future of that small but growing UK population?
That's the question, isn't it?
Is that group also living far from its native predators, just on a slower path to the same population explosion? Are they destined to one day be seen as pests too? Something to mull over.
Until the next deep dive, keep questioning the world around you.